Good morning, everyone. Yet another episode of the talk show Sajan Naya, Tourism, Hospitality, and Aviation. Today's guest is very special, and special because not because for any other reason. Many audience from the audience, many would like to know what this job profile is all about, what are the challenges in it, and how do I go about doing it. And the job profile is none other than being a cabin crew. Today we have Sangeeta Iyer with us, who's a cabin crew with the leading airline in India and is in the industry for the last 15 to 20 years. Hi, Sangeeta, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Sajan. And thank you for having me on this show today. It's my privilege. And I would love to share my experiences and, brief the youngsters about what this job is all about.
Yes, Sangeeta.
Thank you so much.
Let's get on to the job directly. And the first question is, let's start from you. So how did the interest for you came about being a cabin crew, and how did you go about starting off your career? We will start from there and then go forward.
Yeah, sure. Actually, Sajan, my dad, was also a cabin crew. He was a flight attendant with Air India.
Okay.
So right from my childhood, I have been seeing him, packing his bags and going for 10 days and then coming back and, giving us all the lovely gifts and goodies, which people didn't have the privilege. I'm talking at least, 35 years back,
Right. Right.
So that always excited me and interested me, So I think the seed was already sown when I was a kid itself. Yeah. Then later, of course, my dreams kept changing like everybody else's. Right. And when I was in my, SY BCom, there was an ad in the newspaper of Jet Airways, and wherein they were looking for crew, and I said, okay, let me give it a try, because since I wanted to be an air hostess, and I went for the interview and I didn't get selected. So that was a good thing, because I was like, oh God, I faced rejection. No, something is wrong somewhere, and I said, no, now I have to somehow get into, at least pass the interview. And then after I finished my graduation, again the ad, because Jet Airways used to keep having ads at that time in the year 2000. I'm talking about the year 2000. And after my graduation, I was just sitting at home, and the ad came. I applied. I went for the interview, and to my luck, I got selected in the year 2000 for Jet Airways. So that's how my career in aviation started. That was my first job as well. And I worked with Jet Airways for 4 years. I quit in 2004, but their training and was fabulous. Absolutely, it was fabulous. Their practical training, their service training, it was really good. It made me very confident, and whatever I am today is actually because of them. You can say that. Yeah, and then after that, I tried my hand at another job. I wasn't very happy. So I again got the opportunity to join erstwhile Indian Airlines. Similarly, the ad came in the newspaper. I applied for it. And I went for the all the procedures, the written examination, the group discussion, personal interview. And it took a while. In government airlines, it usually takes a while for them to complete the procedures. It took a good you can say 7-8 months. And then in the year 2005, I joined erstwhile Indian Airlines, but now everything is Air India.
So, Sangeeta, it has always been a very curious question to me myself, why is so much of glamour attached to the cabin crew's job? What makes it so glamorous? How do you look at it?
Sajid, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell me, when you go to an airport or even in your building or anywhere, okay, if you see a cabin crew, don't you give her or him a second look? Yeah. Definitely, you would definitely give them a second look, because the cabin crew as a job, they have a particular aura around them. When they get into that uniform and uh, you see them, you have a different feeling. You at least give them a second glance, if not anything. Whatever you think of the job is a separate issue, but definitely you do give them a second look. So glamour, yes, there is glamour still in it, but what I can say is the glam quotient has reduced considerably. Earlier, what used to happen was very few airlines were there, okay, and very few people wanted to become a cabin crew also, you know, and they had, I mean, look at the privileges. You have a transport picking up, dropping you, you stay in 5-star hotels, you're getting paid for it, you travel to places, and I think that part is still there. Of course, it's reduced a bit, it's reduced considerably. If you ask me, the glam quotient has reduced. There is glamour in it, but not like before, to be honest.
Sangeeta, my next question is a very practical question. Because you've been in this industry for a long time. Uh,
Right.
uh, the media, the paper says inside the aircraft it is a lot of troubles, a lot of stressful job. It's people, different kinds of people. They create chaos. They're troublemakers. Is it really this as it sounds in the papers, or is it being given a different picture?
uh, See, the media usually makes a mountain out of a mole, right? So there is not 100%, it's not 100% authentic of what they say. They always like to add masala, and they want their thing to sell, basically.
Right.
So yes, troublesome as in, what I can say is that it depends on the category of people who are flying also. Like if say it's an international flight, if there is a drunk passenger, he's behaving badly, or there are a group of people who are traveling, those kind of people could be troublesome. Yeah, about the media part of it, what I can say is that, okay, I'll speak from my Air India point of view, since I work with Air India. Now Air India is an organization which is always under the public eye. So what tends to happen is that even the smallest news tends to get leaked either internally or somehow, and the media blows it out of proportion. Similar things happen in the private airline as well, but they are not covered extensively, I should say. So, that's what I said. You don't have to believe it 100%. It happens everywhere, but certain airlines could be targeted, on certain airlines, they escape it. So that's what I would like to say about media as such. And about troublesome passengers, it depends on, how. If you're having a bad day, even a good passenger can become a bad passenger and trouble you. So it all depends on your luck. That's what I can say on that. Yeah.
We got a second phase of it, of our session, whereby how do I'm a youngster. I'm 18 years old or 21 years after graduation. I'm a youngster. I'm aspiring to be a cabin crew. How do I start? What should I do? What should I train myself? Any tips on that area? How do we go about doing it?
Sergeant, see, regarding 18 years of age, what I personally think is that anybody, any person should at least complete their graduation and then think about any job as such, a full-time job, I can say. Though the norms of cabin crew recruitment is 10+2, and then you can apply for it, but I still think that they're a little immature and naive when it comes to taking up a job immediately after your 12th standard. All right. The maturity level is a little, I cannot say low, but maybe it'll take maybe 2-3 more years and they will be ready for a cabin crew job. Okay. Apart from that, training institutes, definitely, if you feel that you lack in a certain, like, your parents may not be fully conversant in English, and so, or your education must be from a different background. I'm not talking about Mumbai, maybe other places as well, not well conversant with English. So then you can actually go to some institutes and groom yourself first before taking up any job, be it cabin crew, basically the customer service industry. If you ask me, that is my point of view. So you groom yourself, and another thing is keep updating yourself, keep reading newspapers. You have the internet as well. uh, Keep going for interviews, not only aviation related, other places as well, so that you know what they ask you, what is your approach, how do you where do you stand exactly, where you need to improve. People also tell you, the interviewers sometimes tell you, okay, you can come back next time, these are what we require from you, so you can work on them. That's what I would like to tell people who are aspiring to be anything, cabin crew
All right.
or anything in the service industry at least. And you need to have good communication skills. uh, that's what I think. Good communication skills, pleasing personality, you can improve on your personality, you can do personality development. These are the kind of things that any customer service industry requires the most.
So
And once you achieve this, you already get, your confidence level gets boosted.
correct, correct. The question progresses to next level is that once where do I where does this hierarchy start in the cabin within the cabin crew? Where do I start from, and how far can I go, and how much time does it take to finish in terms of a cabin crew career is concerned?
Again, this is airline specific,
Correct.
to be
Airline
honest.
specific. Yeah, yeah.
About Air India, they usually start off as a trainee. I mean,
Right.
you have to do the ab initio course,
Right.
which is around 2 to 3 months.
Right.
All right. And then you become a trainee cabin crew. You have to do some familiarization flights, get familiar with the aircraft and the equipment and everything, the procedures. And then you start as a solo cabin crew. Okay. That will happen for at least a period of 5 years.
Correct.
Then you become a senior cabin crew.
Okay.
After that, you become a deputy chief cabin crew at around 15 years.
Okay.
Then it's a chief cabin crew at 20 years.
Okay.
Then you have the assistant manager and manager.
Oh.
So it takes time.
Right.
A good 15-20 years
Yeah.
you have to give to actually reach. But it can be changed because, I told you, policies are changing. Companies are upgrading and updating their policies. So all this is subject to, management change and management policy changes. But right now, this is what we are following as of now.
So are there once I join in, okay, once I get at the intermediate level, are there exams? Are there you have to study and you have to apply for a higher post? Is it like that, or is it through experience and through your knowledge you get going with your promotions?
It's mostly through your experience. They have a definite period, like you have to complete, say, 3 years of service or 5 years of service. Only then you can get promoted to the next grade. It's something of that sort. And to add into this also, Sarjan, see, we have two sections. We have the permanent crew and the contract crew nowadays.
Oh.
So I fall into the permanent category, so that applies to me. Wherein, but the contract-based crew nowadays, the contract it could be yearly, it could be 5-yearly. So it's all subject to the contract, the points which are mentioned in the contract, which keep changing.
Very competitive.
So permanent jobs are not existing much. I mean, very few of us are there who are permanent. It's mostly everything is on contract nowadays.
Yeah, since you said that, one is that the fact that there are thousands becoming 18 plus every day, and very few number of airline companies. So the competition is very intense. So as a youngster, young girl, as a person like me, when I am thinking of hostess, do you advise to have a plan B always in hand, and then you go in with a set of mind, matured mind that if I don't get that, then I should hang on to something else. Would that be a better way of looking at it?
Definitely, Sajjan. I actually escaped it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in today's scenario, plan B is definitely, it should be there. I'd mentioned earlier as well. That's the reason why I say that at least complete your graduation. Even if it is through correspondence, you can take up the job. You can do any job, you can even start flying after 12, but make sure you complete your graduation. In the meanwhile, while being a cabin crew, you have a lot of spare time. You can also do your MBA. You can learn new languages. If you've done a travel and tourism course, your ticketing knowledge is always going to be helpful to you. And then you can, or if you're from a hotel background, that also helps,
Right.
since you have some degree to fall back upon if something happens, or you don't get through, or you don't like the job, in the course, or maybe you get married, and your parents or your spouse doesn't agree to you continue doing this job. You still have something to fall back upon, and this job gives you some time. It gives you plenty of time to pursue your interests. It's how you manage your time.
Mhm. On a
That's what I would
lighter
like to.
note, Sangeeta, which countries have you not visited? Can you name a few?
I haven't been to Australia
Okay, okay.
and China.
Oh, oh,
So few of these countries. Otherwise, and South America, I have not been to these countries.
right,
But I told you, since my dad was also a flight attendant, so I've been traveling since my childhood as
right,
well. So I had the privilege of going to a lot of countries.
right.
And
Extended question. An
I
extended question is that when you reach UK, you're in London, you have a Heathrow Airport, then you have some time. What do you do the time in Heathrow? What do you do the time in London? How do you spend your time as such? You and your team. What do you do as such? Everybody would like to know that.
first we rest,
Okay.
because rest is, you are so tired.
Right.
And of course, jet lag and fatigue and everything. You're so tired, so you rest. But if you're new, you're going to London the first time, or Singapore the first time, you just forget the rest and everything, and all you want to do is just go out and explore everything, and eat the local food, do shopping. Girls, you know how they are. They just love shopping and shopping is like of,
Right.
you can say, prime importance.
Right.
Yeah, as time goes by, once you get, you keep visiting the place, of course the interest weans off a bit, and probably then you just want to relax in your room. You have your me time, your space, and maybe you can enjoy the nightlife as well.
Correct.
To be honest,
Correct.
the nightlife is also good in most of the countries. So yeah, and you can plus you can you can do some exercise, yoga, meditation in your room, and you can do something which interests you,
Yeah.
because there's nobody with you. You're all alone. So yeah, this is what I think cabin crew mostly do.
Right, right. Sangeeta, last question. Any tip or a piece of advice to youngsters of how should they look at the entire at a young age? When you're 30 or 35, you have a different perspective. But that's not that's why I'm asking the question again. Anything
Right.
special to tell them? Any specific advice?
Yeah, of course. Sachin, I want to mention that this job, okay, it has a lot of uh, difficult difficulties as well. So I want to categorize it into two parts. One is on duty, and one is off duty. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So the on duty would be, if I subdivide it further, it would be first passengers. All right. So the challenges that you face with passengers, what kind of passengers you're going to encounter? It could be first time flyers, it could be drunk passengers, unruly passengers, it could be unhappy passengers who've had a previous bad experience with the airline, or something of that sort, or with the ground staff. you know so these are the kind of passengers. You can have passengers with medical conditions, so you have to be ready to face all these type of people every day, you know and or could be for a long duration as well. Then next you have aircraft related challenges. That could be, equipment's not working after takeoff, like TV screens, or the ovens are not functioning well, food is not getting heated properly, shortage of food, beverages, these kind of this.
Challenge.
Then you can have challenges with your fellow crew. Like your senior could be very picky, she could be arrogant, she could be throwing attitude at you, you know or you could have somebody who you had an altercation on the previous flight, and the same person was there with you, and you are in the same galley with that person. So that person could also be causing problems for you unnecessarily, though you're doing your work properly. So you have to be ready to, face all that. You have to be calm, composed. You have to have a you have to keep your mind cool when you come to this on the flight. That is very important. Then what I would like to also say is that uh, food related, or there could be times where you also don't get any food to eat on the aircraft, because you've probably given your meal to the passenger who's asking for a vegetarian, and you're also a vegetarian, but you have no choice. You have to sacrifice it to that passenger. Correct. Also, aircraft related could be you need to clean toilets. You have to be ready to clean toilets. You have to be ready to actually pick up somebody's puke and put it in the dustbin. Captains, you could also have captains who are who ask you questions on board just to test your knowledge, who want to just know how good your knowledge is. So you have to be well prepared with everything. We have a lot of pre-flight briefings, post-flight briefings. All this is taught to you in training. There's nothing to worry about as such. Training is by even Air India training is fabulous. Jet Airways training, all airlines training is, they make you pakka. When you come on board, after a few familiarization flights, you feel really confident. And so that's what I wanted to say about the challenges on board. Of course, I forgot to mention emergencies. You can have medical emergencies. You have to always be prepared for medical emergencies. You have to be well versed with your first aid and other emergencies like, aborted takeoff, landing, crash landing. Crash. You have to be prepared for all that. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'll come to the next part, which is off duty. Now, off duty, what I mean is at home or after the flight, first thing is fatigue. This job is very tiring. It demands a lot of physical energy of yours. So you need to be fit and you need to keep working out, have a healthy lifestyle if you want to come into this job, when you come into this job, a lot of people also get addicted to alcohol, smoking, because it's quite easy. There's an easy access to it. So you need to know your limit. I'm not saying you need to completely refrain, but you need to draw a line. You need to know your limit. That is very important. Secondly, as I mentioned, fatigue. Next is weight issues. After a while, because you're flying in an atmosphere which has compressed air, and you're eating the food which is prepared much before, and you're just reheating and eating it, it tends to cause a lot of health issues like bloatedness, increase in weight gain. Then you have cholesterol problems, hyperacidity. So these are something. You could even have air sickness issues. In the beginning, when you're, as you said, because this is going to be, this is mostly for people who are going to join the airline. They could have hemoglobin issues. They could have problems with air sickness. So you need to judge all that. Once you start flying, if you're having a major air sickness problem, you cannot continue with this job, because day in, day out, you need to fly in this pressurized atmosphere. And another thing I wanted to bring to your notice is for boys, they tend to lose hair. They tend to become bald after a certain period of time, and you have even hear loss, because the engine makes a lot of loud sound. So I'm not talking immediately. This is, of course, after 10-15 years of flying. So these are a few drawbacks of this job. And of course, the best part is you get paid well, you get to see places, you get to eat good food, you get to meet new people. You don't fly with the same set usually. There are new faces every day, so it's not so boring. You have something new to look forward to every day. So these are the good points of the job. It's a high paying job, definitely. Yeah, but it does take a toll on your health, to be frank. And yeah, what I would like to tell all the new aspirants is that it's a lovely job, okay? But you need to have respect for it. Any job that you take up, if you respect that job, if you enjoy that job, only then can you stick to it, or then can you love this job. It takes a while. Do not go on other people's perception. You have to like doing something. Like I told you, I switched jobs, but I came back to aviation because this was my passion. I just love doing this. it's like 19, 20 years that I'm in this, line, and I want to do it till I retire. And majorly my family supports me a lot. This job requires a lot of family support, be it your parents, be it your husband, be it your in-laws. So in future, if you get married and you have children, like I have 2 kids, but my parents, my in-laws, my husband is so supportive that I have been able to complete this journey, so far. So that's what I would like to tell, most of them, that keep all this in mind, and then you can give it a shot. See, there's no harm in giving it a shot for a year or two, and then you can judge for yourself whether you like it or you don't like it. You can even make your good share of money in the meanwhile. So that's what I would like to say, Sachin.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Sangeeta, for your deep thought into what we spoke today. The conversation was, as I said, it's a platform for the experience to talk to the young aspirants to give their views. I want to take one point, very important. I want to reiterate, it's negative, but I want to reiterate that if you see beautiful clothes, you see you see a cabin crew, yes, you turn around and look, but yes, they have the responsibility even to make sure inside the aircraft, things around them are clean and done with. See, that's a responsibility they have. So that's why every job has got two sides. Even this job is not just all glamorous; it's even hard work to conclude with. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely, Sajjan. You're absolutely right. And most importantly, safety. Now, what has happened is the aviation and even the people, who travel, even their perception has changed quite a bit. Earlier, they used to just see air hostesses as like, a beauty who just comes and
Yeah.
serves you tea, coffee, and, a veg, non-veg. But that has changed. People are getting to know that you are primarily there for their safety, more, along with service, but mostly it's safety related. So I got the biggest challenge is you have to put on a smile 24/7 when you're on the aircraft. That's the biggest challenge. So imagine having a smile on your face like this. Maybe you've had a fight with your boyfriend, or or whatever, you had a bad day, but you need to put a smile on your face, because you're the face value of the airline. So you always keep that in mind. Yeah.
Sangeeta, thank you so much. It's been 30 minutes that we're speaking. All right. This will reach out to the youngsters, and we may have a webinar in the months to come. So you'll be one of the guests we'll
Sure.
be inviting, where there'll be more people and they'll have their views on different areas of travel, tourism, and aviation.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Sajjan. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Same there. Bye-bye.
Bye.